I would say the marketeering factor has become more and more prominent. I have to rely on it so far, still, annoyingly, to produce my films. You know, planet Earth is in the midst of like the suicide machine of capitalism.
I was watching this interview and thought,
Jesus.
what capitalist suicide machine era did we end up in today that even filmmakers like Jarmusch, who make their movies definitely not for commerce, still have to think about it when making art? I thought, okay, so somehow nowadays we make art to sell it. But what was it like to just make pure art back then, in the old days, before all this commercial business thinking? What was it like to be Michelangelo, living in this sacred era of Renaissance, and paint out of pure inspiration, untouched by commerce? That must have been... Or was it ever really like that? Wait, what if it's always been commercialized like this? Let's go back in time, to the... We like to imagine Renaissance artists like guys like Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci as these divine geniuses, pure creators guided by inspiration. But art back then was actually commissioned. You didn't just paint what you felt. You painted what a patron ordered. Usually that was the church, some duke, or a rich family like the Medicis. Every major work had a client behind it. It's like Michelangelo ran his own small business, handling contracts and deadlines and trying to work within set budgets. And of course, somehow he ended up delivering masterpieces. He earned his name not just due to his talent, but because he built a brand called
Michelangelo Buonarroti.
But somehow at some point we kind of outsourced that business part. In the film industry, we focus on the creative part and let the studios handle the rest, the money, the marketing, the distribution. And it made sense back then. In the 70s, studios didn't know what a hit looked like yet, so they were figuring it out, trying anything. Weird, personal, risky movies got made, and out of that chaos came some of the most brilliant movies ever made. But 50 years later, we've moved from that creative chaos to a world run by data, because studios now know exactly what formulas keep views up and risks down. And thus we ended up with the Mr. Beastification of cinema.
Look, if you guys are actually open to doing something different, I have a lot of ideas.
We love new ideas.
Just not too new, because we got a pretty tight formula that we got to hit.
I wouldn't say it's a formula so much as a structure that we 100% know works, so we're going to do it over and over again.
They don't need to take chances anymore. And that's what makes so much of modern film feel kind of lifeless. That's what I think Jarmusch meant by suicide machine of capitalism, because art stopped being about expression and turned into optimization.
The problem is the audience gets screwed, because the only things that are fun to watch is something where you go, I never saw that. I never would have thought somebody would have done that.
So where do we go from here? Maybe, just maybe, the next step for creators today is to regain that business mindset artists once had. Not to sell out, but to take back control. Because today we like to think that making art is enough. We believe that somehow mixing business with art is something below us. I myself have always had this mindset. I thought if you make something great, the world will find it. That making a film good enough was all it took. That quality would cut through everything.
You make a goddamn kick-ass movie, and you can take it all over the planet Earth. Not America, not Los Angeles, not New York, the planet Earth. And everyone will know.
But it doesn't really work like that. You can make something beautiful and still stay invisible if no one sees it. That's the part we don't like to talk about. The business part, the promotion part, the unsexy part of art. And that's okay if you're doing it just for yourself. But if you want to live from it, you have to learn both sides.
I don't see a lot of money here.
I don't fully know what that looks like yet, but I'm starting to notice more artists figuring it out, building their own ecosystems, finding ways to reach people directly without waiting for permission.
Yeah, Horace and Pete, that was the stage show. This was I paid for it entirely myself. I mean, I took a line of credit. But that show made enough on the website to pay that back. That's just the way it's always been between me and my fans on the website. I put stuff out once in a while, set a price that just enough for me to get some profit and get the money back. So it lets me operate independently. When you're on a streaming service or on any platform, they have their own problems.
Yeah.
And because they're all owned by larger and larger corporations, they can't do anything that wiggles too much. So that's the way I look at it. It's not like oppression. It's just like they're too mixed in with other shit to be my boss, because I want to be able to fuck around and have fun.
Of course, you might say, yes, Albert, it's a lot easier to go independent like that if you already have millions of fans. But what about the rest of us who are still trying to build an audience? And you'd be right. I don't really have a clear answer for any of this, but I feel like a lot of us are thinking about it. The world's changed, and the old studio system kind of didn't.
Right. Okay. Well, look, I want to entertain audiences just without compromising creativity. Does that make sense?
Trust me, you're going to have to compromise your creativity.
Maybe there's another way to make things now, and maybe you see it differently or have other theories. If you do, drop them in the comments. Let's hear it.
Like having a special like the one that won the Grammy and knowing that you released it just entirely on your website too, it's got to be nice.
It's kind of cool to have a Grammy where it should say like MCA Records. It says louisck.com. That does feel good. It's fun to have your own shop. And